awards. Austin, both of us top of the West. Um, you talk about this one.
I mean, I think we talked about what went wrong for Austin in our episode where we're discussing that one. I think maybe this was a sign of too much confidence in a team that overplayed the season prior. But I think we saw what they were able to accomplish in 22. We thought that they had a pretty strong offseason, bringing in some veteran guys who can get it done. We thought, the striker spot was a spot where they needed to improve, and they went and they got Gyasi Zardes, who's supposed to be a veteran striker in the league and knows how to get it done. And it didn't work out as I think their guys kind of took a step back. I think some teams were able to figure them out a little bit better this season. And as we talked about, I think the big losses really hurt the morale of the team. And consistently having those big losses throughout the season, I think really killed it for them. So who knows? I mean, maybe everything would have been different this year had they, not had those couple of early bad losses in the year. Like they cleaned it up against St. Louis. They didn't hand away that victory. They didn't have that massive loss in CCL. Maybe things would have been completely different for them, but those losses happened. I think it killed their morale, and that was it. Season was wrapped at that point.
Well, that's where I think it went, was the CCL game. After that, it was all downhill to me. So that's kind of where I saw that, and I'm guilty as anybody else who bought into the hype. Like you mentioned, they brought in a ton of their good pieces. You mentioned a bunch of them already, so I won't dive too deep in because we got to move on here. But yeah, it was hype season for them. It was a team that was second in the West last year that got better as we went into the off season, and then I think it's almost like they bought into their own hype too much. They're like, oh, we were second in the West in our second season, CCL in our second season, we're legit. And then they just right on their face. So I think that might have also played into a little bit, thinking that they were better than they were. But we both swung and missed there, and we'll be better next year. We'll be better next year.
We probably won't.
No, we will. Because I've got the script. Actually, they've just released it to the best podcasters, and if we are top 10, but if there's two hosts, they give it to the leader of the podcast, so they gave it to me. So I've got it all ready to go.
Well, they know that I'm just gonna get it right anyway, so they don't need to give it to me.
So let's move on really quick then to our awards predictions. So we predicted MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, Goalkeeper of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Newcomer of the Year, the Golden Boot, and the Golden Glove winner. Right now, none of these are actually released. However, we have shortlists that were put out there, and some of them are on the list and some of them are not. And basically we'll go through and talk about who made the massive shortlist and who made who missed out on it, and then we'll talk about Golden Boot, Golden Glove, and see how close we got there. So as I mentioned before, and I'll just run through mine really quick, I mentioned that Ricky Puig was my MVP bold prediction pick. He did make the shortlist, so I'm still in the running there. I'm still not out on that one.
You keep holding on to that one.
Defensive Player of the Year, I actually think I have a shot at. I put Robin Janssen from Orlando, who is in conversation right now with Matt Miazga. I think are the two kind of front runners that are on, are going to probably be on the short list. Young Player of the Year, I had Diego Luna, and Diego Luna is also on that list. So I'm 3 for 3 there. And this is where it gets a little bit not fun. Goalkeeper of the Year, I put Brad Stuver, buying into the Austin hype. He is not on the list for Goalkeeper of the Year, which is weird because every team gets to put in votes, who they would think from their team gets on there, and they just didn't put a goalkeeper, which I think is kind of weird. Comeback Player of the Year, I put Rodolfo Pizarro, which we won't talk about. Coach of the Year, I put Josh Wolf. Again, buying into the Austin hype, also not on the list, funny enough. Which I think, again, is weird, but I guess the league picks that one. You can't really be a coach who volunteers himself. Newcomer of the year, I had Enzo Capetti from Charlotte, not on the list. And this is where it gets bad. Golden Boot, Willie Agata from SKC. Did he score this year at all?
That's
I
always a good conversation to have about your golden boot pick.
uh Willie Agata from Sporting Kansas City, 24 years old. Oh, he had 3 goals in 685 minutes.
Nice.
Was he injured? I will look that up in a second, but I will say that my other one, the one I was I would say close on Golden Glove was Brad Stuver. Brad Stuver led the league in saves this year, which was a good shout because a good shot stopper, but he did not win the Golden Glove. That went to Stefan Fry.
I'll start with the bad for mine.
All right, start with that.
Well, I mean, I'll just kind of go in order, I guess. In order does start with the bad, but my MVP pick was Lorenzo Insigne. Not on the list, to say the least.
Brutal.
Yeah, that one did not pan out. That was riding the Toronto hype train. Defensive player of the year, I went for Kai Wagner. Definitely was not going to be defensive player of the year, but very surprising that he's not even on the list, considering some of these other names that are on the list. But, I guess Philly has to be biased towards their center backs, whatever. Haters. Goalkeeper of the year. Or I don't know what order I'll go in. I'll go goalkeeper. Goalkeeper of the year, I went for Daniel from San Jose, who is on the list.
Way.
And in my opinion, should be a finalist. I don't think he'll win it, but I think he should be a finalist.
Why? Because of the one stat that you care about?
We went over this already. He is the second best in the one stat, but he was also very strong in save percentage and in saves. Anyway, I mean, it's very clear who's winning goalkeeper of the year, and if he doesn't win it, then we riot.
I don't know. We'll see.
What do you mean you don't know? There is no conversation.
Carlos Coronel is always in the conversation.
I knew you were going to say that. Comeback player of the year, I went for Damir Kreilach, and he is on the list.
Nice.
So great pick by me.
Well done. That's a tough one to get.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. I guess you could just pick somebody who had a year-long injury the season prior, and odds are they'll probably be on the list.
Willie Agata, comeback player of the year next year.
I mean, Brad Guzan's on this list, and I don't think Brad's anywhere near winning this one. You could go Willie Agata. Yeah, go back-to-back Golden Boot picks for Willie Agata.
Andres Reyes on comeback player of the year. I think it's going to be Alan Pulido personally. That's just me.
It could be Robin Johnson. Okay, so then coach of the year, I also went Josh Wolf, riding the Austin Hype train. Didn't pan out. Surprised he's not on the list, considering, Greg Vanney's on the list.
Right.
I don't know how Tata Martino's on the list. Dude was here for half a season and managed to still keep Miami in 14th place, and he's on the list for coach of the year.
Get him, Connor.
Give me a break. I know that they had to make a long short list or whatever, but some of the names on this list are outrageous. Newcomer of the year, I went for Georgios Yakumakis. What a pick that was.
Wow, look at you.
He might be a legitimate winner there. I'm not sure who's going to win that one, but
Yakumakis is a good one. Daniel's on that list too.
He is, but they'll never give it to a goalkeeper.
No.
I think Yakumaki's got a good shot to win that one.
Going to Lionel Messi.
Stop it.
No, it is. I bet you he won't win MVP, but he'll win newcomer just because of what he's done in Leagues Cup. I guarantee
that shouldn't count. That's not Major League Soccer.
I don't disagree with you. It's either going to be Lionel Messi or Bernard Kamunga. Those are going to be the two that I think, or maybe Edward Leuven will get in there as well.
There's no way. If they go Kamunga over Yakumakis, I'm going to flip out.
I want it recorded.
I mean, Kamunga's been phenomenal, but he's played like 600 minutes this season. Yakumakis has also not played a ton of minutes, but certainly much more than that. And he's like third in the Golden Boot. Anyway, sidetracked. Speaking of Golden Boot, I don't even want to say who mine was.
Yes, you do.
I went for Erkin Orlando.
Payback sucks. Because that's
5 goals,
if you
800.
remember, if you remember how that worked, you made me change Toronto. So I said you better change to something crazy, and you changed your golden boot to Erkinkara. To be fair, I think you took it away from like Lorenzo Insigne. So it's not like you were going to be close either way. But I
Yeah.
remember it being something like
Carr's not even with Orlando anymore. So
that.
great pick.
I will say before you get to your golden glove, Willie Agata was hurt for like 20 games this season. So that's where he dropped off. He missed 20 games for KC this year.
Mine got replaced by a coffee brand. So that's where mine went wrong.
The donut brand.
Golden Glove, I went for Andre Blake. Can never go wrong with an Blake pick there, but did not win that one. And then Young Player of the Year, I went for Tyus Magno. He's not even a nominee.
Yeah, that's a lazy pick. Which is
Well,
weird because they put him at 6 on the MLS 22 under 22 or something like that.
I think they put him 12. I put him 6.
You put him 6. Okay. I put him at 10. All
But
right.
yeah,
So yeah, like I said, I think a lot of it for me was buying into the hype of Austin for some of them. So Josh Wolf, Brad Stuver, those were kind of like hype picks. Pizarro was the Miami have a dirty front three and Messi might be coming. So let's pick somebody who is going to do something like that. Enzo Capetti was the highest profile attacker, so he gets newcomer. And then Willie Agata, like I said, he got hurt, but he scored 3 goals, but he only played 600 minutes. So if that continues on and we roll that out to a 2,000-minute season, he's up there. He doesn't win it, but he's close.
yeah. Maybe if you do that with everybody, then he's probably not close.
Yeah, except that you only use that when it benefits you.
Ah, okay, I see. That's how statistics work, right?
For you. All right, let's go. Do you have any, reasons for why you picked who you picked outside of the ones we've already talked about?
I mean, yeah, Insigne was riding the Toronto train, Josh Wolf, the Austin train. Daniel, we're gonna talk about that in a minute, but that was kind of on the San Jose train. Yakumakis might have been a bit of a biased pick.
But it worked.
It did. It was a good pick. The rest of them I don't really have too much to say. I mean, Andre Blake was the safe pick. Erkin, like you said, was the one where you forcibly made me change to my golden boot.
What you get.
Clearly I had Denny Bawanga before that, and I mean, what are you gonna do? My hands were tied.